All right, so welcome to day 6 of Becoming. We're 1 day away from the finale. I'm going to hop right into it so we can have some time to share at the end. Just a reminder, this call is recorded. For those of you on YouTube, you are more than welcome to do the homework that is provided towards the end. You're actually encouraged to do so, which is the purpose of it, so that it can get in your program and in your daily routine. Anybody who's new to the call, my name is Aixa, also known as She Who Lives on Instagram. And again, this is day 6 of Becoming. And today we will be going over higher faculties. So let me just actually change the title to this. Working on two trainings at the same time. All right, great. Let's just hop right into it. Please, if you can, somebody confirm that you can see my presentation. Great. All right. So higher faculties, what are your higher faculties? Your higher faculties, ladies and gentlemen, are actually your major gifts. And I need to move this because it drives me nuts. Are your mental gifts. These are the faculties in your mind, remember, not your brain, your mind, that you were given to become conscious creators. Because as we spoke about last time, we believe that we are actually not creative, when in fact we are all creators of our own situation, right? So the first higher faculty that we have on this list is actually reason, right? Mind, the reason. The power of the mind to think, understand, and formulate judgments by a process of logic. Excuse my typos. Secondly, memory, a faculty in which the mind stores and remembers information. If you don't have a pen and paper out now, you have 2 seconds to get it, because I'm promising you, this is all going to tie back to everything we already learned about. These are the tools that you're going to be using to create that vision, to embed that desire, to build that creativity, and you know, that greater end result for yourself, and maintain that focus and stress that why and things of that nature. So let's continue. Again, memory, a faculty in which the mind stores and remembers information. Perception, a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something mentally, and it is a mental impression, right? Something that stays impressed on the mind. This is actually the major source of how you react to things, how you carry yourself based on your perception in life. So your perception is a mental impression. Your will, the mental faculty by which one deliberately chooses or decides. This is actually the source in which generates determination to achieve something. Intuition, an immediate understanding or knowing something without reasoning, without having to go to your conscious mind. Imagination, the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. This is your creativeness, your creative mind. So why is your imagination so important for you to build? Because again, without imagination, we would not be able to create that vision of what has yet to become, of what has yet to have happened yet. So in your becoming, your imagination is very vital that you actually work on, which a lot of us don't. A lot of us don't tap into that part of ourselves. We might find it childish. We're programmed to believe that this is something that you lose as you become an adult. But children are actually living, and this is why I say that you can learn a lot from kids, because they're living in their utmost senses of those higher faculties, because coming out the womb, they're already using these things to become that toddler and then move on past that. Now, Napoleon Hill says, an educated person who has developed the faculties of their mind that they can acquire anything they want. An educated person is who has developed the faculties of their mind that they can acquire anything they want or its equal without violating the rights of others. So how can we interpret this? The message that I've received from this specific quote is, if you can master these abilities, then you don't really have to sit in competition with anyone. You don't really have to belittle anybody else's source or feel like you're in competition at any time, because at the end of the day, you understand that living in your own power is what is going to get you successful, instead of believing that indulging in the power of others or trying to rob people of their power because you feel you're in lack, right? Which is where a lot of violence comes from when we think of poor people and stuff like that. You no longer have that mindset of feeling like, I can't. I want to be like this individual. No, you stay grounded in the fact that you have those same powers, like I continue to stress. The major thing, my major goal out of this whole training, out of just even my being, my major purpose is to be able to master these things and help other people master these things, so that they understand that their power is all that they need. And you don't have to try to be someone else. You are fully capable when you are living in your own truth. So to dig deeper, this is coming directly from, Proctor Gallagher Institute, again, Bob Proctor's business. He states, imagination. Your imagination is incredibly powerful. It allows you to create something out of nothing. It's what you use to take an idea, something that is non-physical, and turn it into something physical. We all use our imagination to create things, experiences, and circumstances in our lives. However, many times we unconsciously use it in the wrong way by imagining bad things happening to us or other things we don't want. Again, like if we go back to our other trainings, focusing on what we don't want, the language that we use as well, this all combines. And I'm going to stress this so that you guys can go back to your notes and be able to connect these again like a puzzle. The key is to learn to use your imagination to create the experiences that you want most in life. Now, this is how you use your imagination in a positive way. Daydream, as I spoke to you guys the other day. I have always been a major dreamer. Daydreaming is more deliberate than merely dreaming, and that makes it more effective in opening your mind to possibilities. Why? You actually have more control over daydreaming than you do over dreaming. Reminder, your conscious mind is the part of your mind you have control over. 99% of the dreams that you have are coming already from something that was processed in your subconscious already. And what do we know about the subconscious? Once something hits your subconscious, you no longer have control over that part of you. So as he quoted Edward Allan Poe, they who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night. So take a break from your daily tasks each day to relax and let your mind wander. What would you do if you turned your annual income into your monthly income? What would be a perfect day look like? Who would make an ideal life partner? Amuse yourself by speculating on ways you would like to you would like to see your life improve, and it will soon become a habit. And one day your daydreams may become your reality. So again, next thing we're going to tap into, which is huge, which comes from that awareness, which comes from frequencies, energy, the feeling, intuition. Intuition is a small voice inside that speaks your truth. As you learn to turn down the volume, as we spoke about, learning how to be in silence of the noise around you and the voice of your paradigm is the second voice. That's the voice that you were programmed to use with the doubts, with the negativity. And turn up the volume of your intuition, your life will become fuller and you will feel more connected to others. Here's how you strengthen your intuition. Stop and listen. It's hard to tune into your inner wisdom when you're constantly busy. So take some time each day to slow down and be more open to your higher self. If you're looking for an answer to a question or you have a decision to make, start looking inside yourself for the answers before you choose which path to take. A lot of us don't do that. We're constantly distracting ourselves, going back. We're constantly distracting ourselves with business, with even music sometimes, with social media, with feeling like we have to work harder instead of learning how to work smarter, how to think and grow rich. We were literally programmed to believe that if we worked and worked and worked and we're constantly, you know that overworking is an addiction, correct? Like, I hope everybody on here, like anybody who does too much of anything at that point, that's an addiction. It's something that you can't release. It's something that if you're so attached to, that you feel like if you let it go for one day, the whole world is over. And a lot of us tend to do that with work, with business. And this is where that faith comes in. It comes from your intuition. Intuitive messages are subtle and can fade from your conscious mind very quickly. So write them down or record them immediately, even if you can't act on them right away. This is major. This goes into journaling. This goes back to day one of becoming, right? So we're already building. So for those of you who are actually applying this information, you're already building the muscles to understand this point. If you still have not been able to connect these things mentally, then when these videos are recorded and posted on YouTube, I highly suggest you start from all the way in the beginning and replay this 10 times till you get it. Again, these parts are from Proctor Gallagher Institute. Now, memory. Everyone has a photogenic memory. Some people just don't have any film. When I read that quote, it hit me in the soul, because we always talk about creating our own movies. And a lot of us don't believe that we even can. While you may see that as just as an amusing quote, it's true. You'll learn more about this throughout the month. Well, I say that you will learn about this more throughout your process. We just need to train our minds properly to realize it. How to develop your memory. Use your senses, your receptors. What are your receptors? Smell, taste, sight, touch. Those are the things that process through your consciousness. And as we spoke about before, in your paradigm, when you smell a certain smell, it can take you back to a memory. It can make you think about your grandma, make you think about your childhood, etc. So now that we're at the end of the puzzle, we're learning how to really build that as a muscle. So the more senses you involve when you learn or do something, the easier it is to remember. For example, if you want to remember someone's name, it may help to look them in the eye when you repeat their name and offer a handshake. That will engage 4 out of your 5 senses. Reason. Our faculty of reason is what we use to think, to analyze, compare, and evaluate ideas. It's the primary way we choose and we use it in every choice we make. Now, I have to stress this because I hate to say it like this, but a lot of us do not take the time to reason with anything, to sit and reason, right? And in order to have common sense, you must have reasoning. A lot of us don't. A lot of us are so on go that they'll somehow manage to, for example, there might be 4 ways to get around the block. And my colleague might be more likely to take the hardest way to get there just because they're so in an urgent rush to be there before just thinking, where I might sit back and say, oh, before I even approach this, how can I make this work for me where I get there in 2 minutes rather than 20? It can take all the information it has and stir it up and come up with brand new ideas. So a tip for developing your reason faculty: practice being unreasonable, thinking out of the box. Most people think being reasonable means stifling or sacrificing their own dreams and goals out of fear of disappointing someone, fear of being laughed at, fear of going against the crowd or disrupting the status quo. No, make it make sense no matter who you have to disappoint. However, neuroscience has shown that we use only about 5% of our brain. Wow, that's even smaller than the statistic that I used last time. So that means it's just depleting as we go, because I said 10%. So venture into uncharted territories and practice being unreasonable. Write down the ways you are holding back on going for, or even acknowledging what you really want in life because you're afraid it might be unacceptable or impossible. Then relax and come up with a list of new ideas and strategies to get what you want. Guys, for example, making money. There are so many creative ways that you can make money. Some people sell blood, and some people might think that's crazy, weird. Oh, unacceptable. Oh, how is that even so? It sounds like you could die from that. No, if you do your research, you actually show that you're actually helping the world and you're giving back, and you are making money at the same time. But these are things that people won't even consider doing or think about, right? So perception. Perception controls what you become aware of in your environment and how you choose to see it. Perception has both conscious and subconscious mind functions. There is duality in most everything: front, back, up, down, in, out, good and bad, everything. The good is not always in the thing itself, but what comes from it. And we always have the choice of what to focus on. Now, just to tap onto this a little more, I truly have this belief, and is that in life, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's what you do and what you don't do, and then how you perceive it and how much care you have towards other people's perception. That is what's going to create that negative or positive feeling within yourself. So in the subconscious mind, perception determines what we become aware of. We're flooded with billions of bits of information every second in our conscious mind, and we can only process a tiny fraction of them. So I want you guys to understand this, because this actually goes into focus as well. And I want you to write this down, because this is facts. Nowadays, we are drowned. We are receiving more information in 24 hours than the average individual living in, what are those times called? I actually wrote it down. Give me a second. We consume more information than someone living in Shakespearean time in a lifetime. So I want you to think about that. In 24 hours, we're consuming more information than someone in Shakespearean time in their whole lifetime. So keep that in mind, because that also goes back to why our ability to focus is so minimal, why our memory is getting affected. So two main criteria determine what gets through: what agrees with our beliefs and what our mind believes is important to us, which goes back to our paradigm. Here's how you can develop your perception. Open up your camera phone and go into any room in your house. Stand at one end point of the room and take a picture. Turn around, walk to the other side of the room and take another picture. Then compare the two images side by side. One room, two totally different pictures. This is so important, especially when you're looking to build valuable relationships. Understanding multiple perspectives and having the strength in your perception to be able to take yourself from one way that you perceive a situation to a whole different way. Now take that lesson and apply it to one of the rooms in your life. Pick a different vantage point from which to view your primary relationship, your career, or your financial situation. A singular perception in your life can prohibit your growth. A different one can exponentially expand it. Keep shifting your position until you find that one, then stay there. Whew. If you didn't screenshot that now. Okay. Will is what we use to focus, which is why, of course, I started talking about focus in the last presentation, because it all adds up again like a puzzle. Will is what we use to focus our attention. Many people have trouble staying focused, and they bounce from one thing to another and never finish anything. Please type a 2 in the chat if you are guilty of that. And I'm throwing my 2 in there 10 times, because that has been me my whole life because of my attention span. I'm seeing the 2s come in. Great. The will used properly as it was designed to be used is really what we think of as sustained concentration. What a person concentrates on, they think about. What they think about, he didn't say what you go out there and do and you're forcing yourself to do, or you're trying to make work. All the words that we agreed not to use, he didn't use none of those things. He said what they think about is what they become. A tip for discovering how you've been using your will. Spend a few minutes answering the following questions with complete honesty. Where in your life are you using concentration to sabotage yourself? So, like, what are you putting energy towards that you know is not going to get you to the end result? That you know is not adding up to that will, to that drive to be, whether it's chairman, whether it's the $1 million baby, whether it's worth $1 billion, whether it's a wife, whether it's a husband, or where's your concentration? Because even in relationships, even in love, you might say, I want to be the best sister, or I want to become a husband or wife one day. But like I said, if you're not making the action to align with that purpose, and you're still acting like the single individual, your actions are saying this is what you are, or your actions are saying I will only ever be able to stay within my 9 to 5 and I'm not willing to step out and do other things, or your actions are saying otherwise, right? Your actions are saying customer instead of chairman, then that's what you're going to become. That's what you're going to remain. Are you spending more time focusing on what was or is and what you don't want, or where you're going and your current goals? We've been stressing this through the whole training. If you knew without a shadow of a doubt that your will alone could change your present circumstances, Would you have the discipline to focus on the good? That is big. That right there. If your will alone could take you to where you want to be, is that enough to drive you to be there? So, in conclusion, once you master these, you become a conscious creator. And what I mean by conscious creator, you start to create your circumstances. And a lot of individuals on this call, including my partner here, Wes, have seen how these faculties have not only worked in my life, but in other people's lives as well. Like literally to the point, like I'll say, this is what it's gonna be, and this is what's gonna happen, and it scares them. But it shouldn't. The fact that it scares us, that's the problem. That's where the actual lack is, because our paradigm made us believe that this is crazy. But once we start to understand that it's not crazy, because if you really think about it, every successful billionaire in the world was made to believe crazy. But they did it though. So your power is within. Take back your power. And I cannot stress that. In this training, you have been provided with all the stepping tools. Even if you listen to this, repeat, go out there. Who are you listening to? All the things I told you guys to listen to. Have you finished your wishes, your command? No, that says enough. That says enough. It says finish in 14 days. I finished it in 4 because that's how much, that's where my will was. Right? So take back your power and take responsibility of your circumstances. I want to do this with everybody. Look around your room right now. Look at where you're at in life. Be real with yourself. I spoke to Raf, who's another leader on the team. And he told me like a major issue that I've noticed that people have is they're not honest with themselves. They're not honest with themselves. You are right now sitting where you are in your circumstance because of nobody but yourself. Not because your mom, not because your parents didn't rub your back, didn't give you foot massages and put you in the bed. It's not because of any of that. It's because of you. Granted, yes, maybe there was a lack of information there. But do you want to become something bigger? If so, you should be out there seeking the information you need. You should be out there creating the routines. Anybody on this call, I've told you guys, if you have a problem creating a routine, if you don't know what to put in your routine, my line is open. I have yet to receive a text message. I have yet to receive one message. So what does that say? What's crazy is these are the easier things to do. And these are the things that the 96% are not willing to do. Not willing to do the fun stuff. This to me is fun. If somebody told me, do personal development for the rest of your life and you're going to be a billionaire and you don't have to worry about anything else, I'm happy. I'm happy. But like I said last time, also don't use personal development as a distraction, right? So homework. Explore ways that you can strengthen each of your faculties. Very simple. But again, you got to get creative. Explore ways that you can strengthen each of your faculties. Use one method for each faculty. Add them to your morning routine. It doesn't necessarily need to be morning. It could be your nighttime routine. Of course, I say morning because that's the start of your day. And the higher of frequency you can get yourself in the morning, the better the rest of your day is going to go. So with that being said, guys, I'm happy to say that is actually the end of day 6. All the credit goes to my Learning from Bob Proctor on this specific topic, higher faculties. And it wasn't until I saw that I was like, wow, all the things that society takes us away from, like our creative abilities, you know, our ability to concentrate on one thing or feel like we could sit down and do one thing without feeling guilty, like we're not being productive. Let me tell you guys one scenario. So when I got to Texas, right, and I'll repeat it again, the first best decision I ever made was leaving New York to Texas, and the second best decision I ever made in my life was leaving Texas to come to Florida. So the first best decision, when I got out there, I have a friend, and she was like, it got to the point that she was like, Aixa, like, is it like impossible for you not to do anything? And I was like, yeah, like I was having anxiety in the silence. I didn't know what it was to sit and think about what I wanted, what I cared about, what I don't want, what I do like. Like I didn't know what that felt like. My whole life, since I was 15 years old. 15 years old, I've been working and driving. And once that car hit, honestly, I don't even want to say since I was 15 years old because I feel like school counts. But since I was 15 years old, I've been working and driving. And once the car was in my hand, I was looking for every which way to make money to be independent. I'm someone who loves to be independent. I'm someone who I enjoy being alone, which I'm working on in a sense. But I also feel like it's a strength. Like I love being alone. I could do my nails alone. I could go eat alone. I can go to events alone. Like it doesn't bother me to be alone. So with that being said, when the first lesson she taught me was it's okay not to do anything. That was number one. The second thing that I give her credit for is a couple of days, no, maybe a couple of weeks after, I hung out with her again. And she was like, well, what did you do today? And I was like, not much. I felt a little unproductive because all I did was think all day. And she was like, girl, that sounds like a hardworking day to me. And when she told me that, that's when I really grasped the concept of Think and Grow Rich. So again, guys, last day of becoming, those of you on YouTube, if you want to reach out, you can feel free to, feel more than comfortable to, at she who lives ___. So I'm going to stop the recording and then I'm going to let some people speak.